Hello, all of you who's watching this podcast. I'm Red November, representing Sunday Wars Universalis, SWU in short. We are a European Universalis for multiplayer community, and this is our fourth session podcast. We started our journey in 1600, and right now we just entered 1660. We are here to talk about what happened during the span of 60 years in our game. Now that we introduced our community, let me introduce myself and my colleagues. I'm the host of this podcast session, and my nickname is Red November. I'm playing Poland, Lithuanian Commonwealth. I'm here with Frozen, who's playing Russia, and Twin, who's playing Mughals. So let's start underlying what we will be talking about today. We will be talking about what has happened, who fought against who, and martyrs of our fourth session. We're not going to talk about the personal deployments of our players and their potential allies or enemies for the next session. We do not want to spoil things in advance. We will start introducing players from Europe in this session, and slowly we will travel the world. I hope you guys enjoy this session, and we will follow this. We should follow the ones after this one. And here we are at Europe. In this session, Europe was an interesting place because it was literally a bloodbath for everyone who was involved in this region. And we have Italy, Tuni here, Julius Tun with us. Hello, Tun.
Hello, I'm playing Italy this session.
After you unified Italy, it was like without a doubt we would have you at some point. Thank you for coming here today.
Yeah, thank you for having
Also, we have Ricky here, who is playing Hungary. Hello, Ricky.
Hello there, I'm playing Hungary.
Hello. So, guys, explain me how it happened, how France decided to fight against Britain and Europe found itself a war. Tun, you were in that French alliance. What happened there?
Well, I was kind of cut in between a lot of great powers, for example, Austria and Hungary. I was limited in expansion with Mamluks. The only way I could expand was Mamluks or Austria, basically. And I managed to diplomatically get Piedmont out of Austria's hands. And then then France and me decided to attack Great Britain because he was in war with the Asian bloc, and to weaken Austria and their alliance basically. And that didn't went as good as expected. I mean, we made some progress at the start, but we eventually we got stuck in the mountains.
So when you guys declared war on Great Britain, it was you and France, right? Was
Yes.
Cologne supporting you guys in that war?
Yes.
What about Castile?
Well, Castile was Castile. I don't think Castile that was supporting, but I mean he supported us later, I think. But it was like a few years. It was a player, but then the player had to leave, so it was AI for like half the session.
Okay, that makes sense. At my case, I was asked by Great Britain to stop the war in Europe, and unexpectedly, my enforced peace was accepted. Like it's come some sort of flattering.
Yeah, but like no, like we had USA support, like enforcing peace. I think Prussia supported enforced peace as well. Like there were so many people enforcing peace. I think Hungary as well. And then I don't know exactly, but like so many people were enforcing on Austria's side, so we didn't expect this much resistance.
Yeah, but Great Britain is my financer, so I had to do his bidding in that war. So Ricky, what was happening like when you guys saw France attacking Great Britain? You are also a close friend of Austria. What was the discussion in your channel?
To be honest, I don't help Austria that much in this session. I didn't join the war. I joined one war, but that was different, totally different war. So I don't really know, and I wasn't in the channel with them, so it's kind of changed with my deploy with Austria, so I don't know that much.
Okay. Twin and Frozen, we saw a very neutral France, like not starting wars, just like consolidating his power in his own region, but now he has been fighting against all of Europe at like for 2 sessions now. So what's going on in Togi? What has changed with French politics?
Maybe new personality has taken over instead.
Yeah, and I mean France. There's like a limit to playing tall, and you don't want your enemies to become as strong. And you also have victory cards which you have to take. Yeah, and of course you want to weaken your enemies.
I feel like he might have missed out on some expansion earlier. Maybe he took playing tall a little bit too far. I don't know.
Yeah. I would if I played France. I would have been a very big blue blob.
Yeah.
Like just eat everything.
We were talking about it in our discussion. Like we all admire Ogi's performance as like playing tall, but do you also support the thought that him keeping Iberia in civil war for 150 years empowered Great Britain, because Great Britain didn't have any resistance against his imperial ambitions, and now Castile is still a backwards place, and it's under protection of France, but not a competitor against Great Britain at all.
Well, Castile, like the Iberian Peninsula, is like they have a very big chance of already being fucked, because you can have like 3 people there, like you can even have 4 people there. And for example, Great Britain, the Scotland player, he was very pro-British, and he migrated to the United States, and which made it really easy for Great Britain to consolidate like his power and like explore. Well, Castile was stuck in a very expensive civil war, which at first he was losing. Eventually, with help of the Italians, he succeeded into uniting basically all of Iberia. But he had like too much competition to focus on exploration.
Apropos to Scotland, do you mind showing us how well the United States is doing? I'm kind of curious about their income and force limit and that.
You want to switch to the USA? All right.
I
Yeah,
just want
let's
to.
go for
I
it.
mean, yeah, I think it could be cool to show.
Just his economy, right?
Oh wow.
Yes,
That's a bank.
USA is a big economy.
322 ducats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
and
leader
he's
too.
he's doing quite great there. We
Yeah,
can definitely say British Commonwealth is a thing in this game. After Sideways, we have the second British Commonwealth.
yeah, they're so wealthy.
Yeah, so wealthy and strong.
I mean, I guess he didn't have much opposition, like Toon says, though. Like Ireland was friendly to him, Scotland was friendly to him, Steel was weak. Who else is there to oppose Great Britain?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's the Asians, but they're not really doing very well with that either.
I think it was only Cologne who actually stood against Great Britain.
He deserves
Yeah,
a
and he
shout
The
got-
out.
only person he had to fight, yeah.
Yeah.
He had an easy game, I guess.
Yeah, and he got like easy Denmark provinces at the start, so
Yeah, like Ogi was telling us last week how Cologne was like the only one basically trying to limit the British influence, and well, it didn't turn out to be the correct choice. Maybe Britain is quite wealthy, and like look at him, like he's forced to meet his allies. He's basically the greatest power. Actually, let's say France is a great power. Britain is a superpower right now.
Yeah, they definitely have global influence at least. They're like in some way involved almost, at least indirectly in every war that's going on pretty much.
Yep, in Asia, in Europe, like he's fighting at several continents and he's winning all of those conflicts.
But do you guys see Great Britain losing? Because I don't see how he can possibly lose anymore.
I don't think he can lose this game.
Like,
He's gonna be
look at the
definitely on
score
top.
gain. 1-1-1. He's first in everything.
Yes.
What's his ideas? Because I haven't checked in a while.
Seems fair enough. He got like a quality army.
Yeah.
And a big one, thanks to his colonies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 541. that's gonna stick there. So guys, the phoenix is a mythical bird with fiery plumage that lives up to 100 years.
No.
Near the end of its life, it settles into its nest of twigs, which can burn ferociously, reducing bird and nest to ashes. And from those ashes, a fledgling phoenix rises, renewed and reborn. So let's think about it. How can you rise if you have not burned? This is the history of Poland. Starting as a humble and small nation, we fell, we started to burn, but once again, through these ashes, we rise once more as a phoenix, like as Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth.
Reborn from a mountain of British gold, I say.
Yeah, that's also like should be mentioned there. Well, when we left off, Russia and Mughals were fighting against Persia, and I made some diplomacy with Russia, and we attacked Russia because we didn't have a truce time with them. We had a truce time Sweden, and we want to reduce that truce time from 15 years to 5 years. So we want to white peace Sweden and then dissolve their alliance with Russia so that Sweden would be isolated. And then because Russian armies were in Persia, he didn't want to fight with us, so he just unconditioned, and we took some of his lands and then severed his ties with Sweden. Meanwhile, Persians and Mamluks were fighting against Russia and Mughals, and Mamluks switched sides, so Persia lost that war. And at some point, he basically got all of his cores back, and right now again, he's still fighting against Mughals and such. But right now, I want to give the microphone to Russia, Mughals, and Hungary because those were the actual players in this conflict. So, guys, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, that Persia wasn't in a very good shape during that war, so there wasn't really very much you could do. But I mean, kudos to him, he kept playing even though things looked dark, and yeah, now it's turned around for him. So, or I mean, he's not. I mean, now he's losing another war, but details. Poor Persia being under constant foreign invasion.
This was an offensive war by him, actually.
Well, now he's going on offensive after all the defensive wars.
Yeah, but that was a mistake by him.
Yeah, I
What
think
did
that.
he do? I haven't been paying attention to Persia anymore. I just accepted I'm not gonna get that trade now.
Yeah. So Hungary, how did you decide to help Persia?
So I guess it started with Mamluks. I wanted to do a Diplo with him, but he just refused. He thought he can just join the game and do Diplo with Great Britain and France, but I don't know how he could do that. So I decided to kill him after he backstabbed Persia. And then I allied Persia and defended him against Indians.
So that's actually a curious point, if you don't mind me asking, because you're like the strongest Eastern power in the game. You are still the strongest Eastern power, and if you wanted, you could actually attack Persia and like grab much of his land. What were you thinking about when you wanted to help him instead of just attacking him?
Because then the three Indians would have easy ground in Persia. I wouldn't be fast enough to take the Persian out if I wanted. So the Indians would be too strong, and I would rather have somebody like wall me against them. And I think the Persia guy is trustworthy.
Seems fair enough. Twin, do you have anything to add?
Well, I'm a bit tired of this war, and I think Persia is also a bit tired. We'll see what happens next session.
150 years now, like all back and forth, like you guys were fighting. Can you show the devastation map of Persia? We have to show it, I guess.
Is it really that bad? I'm not sure.
It must be. He got occupied like several times.
Yeah, but I think he has forts and stuff that brings it down.
No, it looks pretty devastated in Persia. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely say he looks pretty devastated. Not the land of honey and milk. And look at Mughals starting all those wars and not being sieged like for once.
Yeah, India's pretty safe.
Yeah, India is the same. Like basically, they never got sieged.
Yeah, they're safe because I don't have maps of India. I need maps.
Well, you know, I'm always at minus prestige. I can sell some.
Wait, you don't have maps of India, do you?
Well, I can buy. Maybe don't know. I don't have it, to be honest. Hungary also broke a new record. It was Poland who traveled furthest from Europe to Cairo and then Baghdad, but he went all the way to India. So we have a little competition there. And here we are at Africa, and again we have Mali, and again we have a resistance council. But this time he got a bit lucky. 2-1-3.
Yeah. Why is it no 0-0? What is this shit?
Lucky air quotes.
Well, definitely, like he's been playing single player for some time, but the game is like quite bad, like towards him. Look at him, like third Regency Council in four sessions.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's getting all this, like seriously. But he's the only power in Africa right now, the only strongest power.
I mean, there's also Great Britain.
Yeah, there's also Great Britain.
Oh, this is interesting actually. He doesn't really tech up his meal tech. He's far behind. And this is tactics, so it's important too.
Who is going to fight him against though? So like except for Great Britain maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe Britain is letting him leave so that like he can build up more manufactories and then he annexes it. Yeah, Daki's been playing quite nicely in this region, and he is basically the only power strong enough to do whatever he wishes.
Mhm.
And here we are at India and Asia. The last time we were here, Faltron was telling us how they were going to try to resist the British, but unexpectedly, Great Britain just truce broke and attacked Malaya, and he basically killed him in a very brutal way. Uh, I that was unexpected. Like I think no one was expecting it, and he played really nice there. Quite smart of him, because he caught Korea and Malay off guard. If he had given them enough time, maybe they were going to make a buildings, like make a new navy and try to resist. But he just turned the table for himself. And we have the expansion of Oirat in Hindustan. So, Twin, what was happening in this region?
Well, we saw that there was only Korea allied to Oirat, right? And we thought like, well, Hindustan and Malwa and me can definitely easily beat Korea and Oirat. So Hindustan declared the war. And Persia was only allied to Oirat, I think, and not to Korea. So Persia couldn't join the war. And but Persia declared offensive war anyway to try to help Korea. And that's about it. Currently, we're fighting a two-front war. About equal numbers, so it's going to be interesting.
As it appears. Frozen, while you are here, you are playing as Russia, and it's your decision, of course, but you didn't want to go to east, like as a traditional Russian expansion route. You wanted to go south.
Yeah, that didn't work out
What were
very
you?
well.
Yeah, what were you like? If you were like going to like east, what would you have said? Like what's going on in Asia? Because we don't have, except for Great Britain, have a European power actually in inserting his influence in this region.
Yeah, maybe the game could have looked different. I guess my rationale was that I could expand into Mughals, but I wouldn't. The land isn't that great there, so why not just attack Persia? But Persia proved very hard to attack. So
Fair enough. Were you expecting this much resistance when you attacked like Persia 150 years ago?
I mean, we were. I mean, I was expecting the wars to be expensive and for there to be resistance, and I mean, and we were slowly winning the wars until other unfortunate things occurred. So yeah, I guess I had hoped it would be a little bit easier, but it wasn't like I wasn't extremely surprised by our slow progress, I guess. And we have to remember that we also, I will never let Twin forget this, had a war which we won but accidentally
La la
whitelisted.
la 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 la.
So that didn't help us either.
Fair enough. And
Yeah.
also, I would like to point out one thing. Please state.
What?
Like it's so interesting. Like Twin, when he get into India, it was like a devastated region, but now it's the land of milk and honey. But look at Persia, like
Yeah. Well, I still stand by that. I think Persia was the strongest country after the second session, and
but yes, he was quite strong.
being that he is not anymore is quite an achievement of me and Mughals, or me and Russia. We have something to be proud of at least.
Ricky, do you want to add anything to this statements?
I guess they made Persia weak, but they made their country weak too, so works for me.
Well, always a pragmatist. Korea, I would like to mention his name. Faltron, like, is playing also quite nicely here. He is the second greatest power in the game, and also making quite a sum of money.
Should I show it?
Yeah, you should show it.
And the
But
Chink player was playing, but he is in America now. Imperial Bank,
Imperial Bank, we need to show that as well.
Alaska.
Alaska. Yeah, Korean players doing quite nicely here. But
Yeah, but his army is of course not the greatest with the Korean ideas,
yeah, that's also true.
as much as he tries. Of course. Yeah. Out of manpower as well right now. He doesn't have professionalism, and he's fighting against Hindustan, who has full professionalism. Or not
That's
full,
very
but 75%. So that's gonna be really tough.
yes. Hindustan seems quite strong.
Yeah. Poor Malaya.
Poor Malaya.
Yeah, Malaya got colonized.
And here we are at it's America, continent of America. We have Ireland, who is still going for Brazil, I believe. We have Great Britain dominating the region, Aztecs, and United States. United States, I think he's going for historical borders. What do you guys say? Making quite a sum of money, and has been fighting in Europe in this session.
Yeah, we did have a look at him earlier. He's doing quite well for himself. And I guess there's a little bit of a goal for him to grab on the west coast still, I think. Or who's owning California?
It's the Aztecs.
It's the
Okay,
Aztecs,
so it's
yes.
basically free for him to take, I suppose.
Well, what is the deal with the Aztecs? Does anyone know? Why USA hasn't killed the Aztecs yet?
I guess the comrade playing together.
Maybe that could be the case. Because England didn't kill him either.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, England even sub Aztecs, so they even give him the victory card. So
I guess he's part of the British Commonwealth then.
you know what they say, if you can't beat them, you join them. That could be the... I'm just worried about Ireland. He has been quite passive in this session. I mean, maybe I'm just wrong. I didn't know what he was doing.
Well, we can take a look.
Yeah, we can take a look. Close inspection.
Making not the most of money. Not like the USA.
Still more than Poland.
No more than me.
Yeah, and Russia to combine together.
Hey.
Yeah, East is a big black hole.
No, but if it's a big black hole, it means there's weaker neighbors, It's easier to expand. Like, if I was France, it would be much harder to expand, because surrounded by strongest nations in the world right now.
Ah,
Not all too
that's
bad.
also bad. Yeah, it's not too bad. My income is just around 30. Without Great Britain, I don't have basically, I can't even raise my maintenance.
Cool.
So, land doesn't mean, richness. And here we are, we talked about what happened during the span of 60 years in our game. Now we have Europeans fighting each other, Eastern conflicts still going on. And, Great Britain is becoming a superpower. He suppressed the level where he was a great power, but now he's a superpower.
Why are we so quiet?
Okay, I was waiting for you.
Oh, okay. I was
Okay, we
sitting
have-
down, everyone was quiet, so I thought.
Okay. 3, 2,